Europe beat the USA in the Ryder Cup this weekend, and just like the Americans, the Saints made us think for a minute there might actually be a miracle in New York State. But instead, the Saints are 0-4 for the first time since 2012. But this felt a little bit different. After the collapse in Seattle, we were braced for another disaster, but in Buffalo, the Saints showed up. They played hard, cleaned up the penalties, ran the ball, and went toe-to-toe with one of the league's best for 3 quarters. But still, the scoreboard says 31-19 Bills. Once again, it came down to the little moments. Pete Werner dropping a gift pick, Chris Olave's trick play interception, and Spencer Rattler just missing Cooks in the end zone. Those almost plays keep turning close into another loss. So here's the question. Do we take comfort in the progress? Or are we past moral victories and 0-4 is just 0-4?
So grab a drink. This week, it doesn't have to be a stiff one. Doesn't have to be a hurricane or a hand grenade. You can have a nice smooth Sazerac, maybe. Pull up a chair and join us on the Transatlantic Tailgate.
The Saints, the city, and me. Two guys from across the sea. The Saints, the city, and me. Procrastinators and MKC Papa. Go down.
Right.
You did that well. Well done.
Well, I'll get my breath back.
Well done. It was like
Get my breath
I
back
did
after
almost
the intro.
snooze in the
Bit
middle
of a
of it.
wordy one.
That was a long one. That was a big
Thank
old
God
one,
for
mate. But well done.
It was. That's what they said. We
Mate, you trying to get your breath back.
right. Well, I am. I'm trying to get my breath. Lead me off. Lead me off. Lead me off.
Are
Right.
we freezing? Are we freezing?
You've frozen.
So have you.
I'm
You're
still
frozen.
here. I have to cut this bit out.
Yeah, you've completely frozen.
I'm back now. I'm back in the room.
All right. You're not back on the screen, though. But anyway.
He's gone. Where's he gone? He's lost his internet. I'm gonna have to cut all of this. Come back.
Yeah, I've got no idea, bud. No idea.
Sorry, still recording. Still recording. So I might use some of this. I don't know. Maybe the outtakes.
Yeah, no,
at the end.
absolutely. Right, where were we?
Where were I said? Do you want to lead me off?
Well, did you lead? Was that lead? Not a word that began with B.
Maybe. Look, Mike. Mike just dropped off, lost connection for 5 minutes. Just help me get my breath back after that
Yeah,
intro,
I did it on
you know.
purpose. Did it on purpose.
I appreciate
you're
you.
all
Thank
good,
God for
you're
the
all
auto
good.
cue.
Yeah, I don't know. Where do we? I mean, yeah, again, you can go chronologically through the game again, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing because I think there's plenty to say about every aspect of the game. Overall sense, just getting it out there yet again. Last week was, for whatever reason, for whichever finger you want to point, was egregious last week. I think everybody agrees with that. It doesn't matter which camp you're in, you know, who you do, who you don't support, what your feelings are about the team. The product they put on the pitch last week was not good enough, and they knew that. You know, you just need to listen to the head coach to know that, and some of the players. This week, the product that they put on the pitch was, yet again, very much like the first 2 games. You know, we've lost 4 in a row, but yet again, we came out of that game. You know, we were watching it over at your bar. Shout out to Matt and Bruce, who were there as well. Shout out to the Harper family for obviously the wonderful reception we always get at your house. But yet again, all of us felt strangely a little bit lighter even after that defeat, didn't we? So
Yeah. I think obviously they went 7 to zip up, and I think there's a point where you just like, oh well, here we go. And then the fact that we answered back pretty quickly, like pretty much straight away on the next drive, was like, oh, this is something we haven't necessarily seen so far. Was like that let's go straight back and try and get something out of it. Which, and you know, I said about on the last episode that Buffalo, you know, were getting a reputation of playing with their food. I don't think it was playing with their food. I think we probably were better than they expected us to be. And I was. The penalties were cleaned up. That was my biggest thing, you know, and that's why I was questioning, you know, some of Moore's decisions and stuff. But he's you know, obviously they looked at it and said, not good enough. Now we turn it around and we show people that we can clean these things up and we do get better and we are going to
Yeah.
show that we can hang there with the better teams in the
Yeah,
league.
it's interesting, isn't it?
And that's what we wanted.
On the Dan, on that first touchdown drive for the Bills, and yet again it felt like the age-old problem because it was tackling, wasn't it? Yet again it felt, obviously Shakir went in, and I know he's like one of the top wideouts from a contact balance point of view, but yeah, again you saw, oh, these are the same old things. It was funny. I had a look today about what the situation is with missed tackles, and it appears to be a NFL-wide problem. We're not even in the top 5 of missed tackles. I think the Steelers have nearly had 200. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, we're about 164, but we're not in the top 5. So obviously that's, yet again, we talked last week about, field goals and punting and all this good stuff. And yet again, there seems to be some problems in the league with that. But you're right. We went down, but yeah, the response was really, really good. Really good. And yet again.
Yeah. It was like a bounce back without the win.
Yeah.
It was showed us that they've got the fight, and I think those younger players as well. With a lot of positives to take from the younger players who are starting to step up into their roles now.
Yeah,
I think we're still passing game is still. I thought the run game was fantastic. I thought probably the best running performance this season.
But yet again, I think the Bills' run defense is 31st in the league. So yet again.
I don't care.
No, exactly.
I don't care.
I'm being disparaging, but in times gone by, it didn't matter whether or not it was the 32nd worst run defense in the league. Sometimes we had problems running the ball, and we didn't have any problems running the ball. And it was great that it was coming from different outlets as well. Obviously, AK, Miller, and also Spencer Rattler, some fantastic runs to gain first down. So yeah, that was good to see. And also, with Kellen Moore, you get the feeling that's the type of offense he wants to run. So it was good to see, probably for the first proper time this year, that the sort of the run offense actually looked like it was doing the job that probably the coaching staff want.
Yeah, I mean, I heard, I can't remember where I read this. It might have been on NOF, but the players had a meeting and midweek and talked about accountability, and I think it's important because we and I gave Kellen Moore a hard time last week. Some fans have given him a harder time online. I thought it was measured, but it shows that the players are going, we got to own this as well. This is step up and show, and they were correcting each other in practice, and I suppose coaching each other up at the same time as the coaches. And when you got players like Demario Davis and Alvin Kamara and Cam Jordan, they've got a wealth of experience that they can offer that to coach players up. So it shows, even though these players are older and they're sort of in the twilight of their career, they still want to give something back to the team. They've got that pride, and that's why I think Seattle was such a surprise for me, because we got a lot of players there who've got a lot of pride about them. They don't like being on the end of a result like that, and I think that is why we will win games this season, because they've got that in them that they don't want to lose.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're absolutely right. The bounce back was required, and to be honest, you got the feeling, or a majority of the sort of Saints fans that I'm aware of, you got the feeling that they knew there would be some form of bounce back. I didn't actually think it would be as good a bounce back as it was. The penalty
covered the spread, mate. We covered the spread.
But and we can go through the game, but actually, obviously I know loads of people saying, yeah, we were in the game up until the fourth quarter. Funnily enough, I thought we were in the game in the fourth quarter, because there were a couple of things that happened in the fourth quarter which actually sort of, we let slip. But yeah, there are many positive.
Yeah, it was 21-19 going into the fourth quarter, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
21-16. So we were within a touchdown.
Yeah, and yet again, I know we'll get on to it, but that's the point where, obviously the Cook's touchdown was taken off the board, and yet again, then they go down. Josh Allen, obviously, sort of Josh Allen fourth quartered it like Josh Allen seems to be able to do.
Yeah, that's.
But with
He's just why he's the best quarterback in the league.
yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. But without the Cook score being scrubbed, maybe things would have been a little bit different. But anyway, we can get.
I felt the Cooks one. I've seen them given, so I think you can feel like he's on the rough end of that. I always thought it was. There's got to be definitive proof, and it was pretty much on a Rizzler. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but yeah, again,
I was looking at it on the camera.
all of these systems where they do go off and do checks, and we see it over here with the soccer, don't we? There are plenty of decisions that are made. Obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan. There was a game yesterday. There was a penalty given to us, and absolutely no reason why really it should have been taken away. Sometimes you just don't understand, and as you're saying, some of those can be out of time.
World's smallest violin. You still won.
Out of time to do this weekend.
1-0, but 1-0. But that's the world's smallest violin because you still won. So it's not
but I wasn't talking from an Arsenal perspective. I'm talking about any system that seems to be deployed. There's always going to be arguments. Again, I'm saying I think plenty of people saying that it wasn't a pen. So yeah, sometimes you don't get the rubber to green. We are saying
I would say that would have been a touchdown had it been a good throw, because it was not a good throw. Yeah, I'll give him that, right. He when the field opened up, he made the right decisions to take off, but 126 passing yards. But I say that I'll caveat that, right, because I listened to Nick Underhill talking about it last week, and they was talking about how pocket passes are they're not the thing anymore, and it's becoming more normal to see QBs throwing between 200 and 250 yards a game, and not the 350s and 400s anymore. Well, that's the thing. Teams will look at us and go, "We're just going to make you try and if you want to come downfield, you're going to have to do it in 15 plays because you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it in one or two." And I don't know what the was the longest. Dwan Johnson 17 yards was the longest pass at the weekend. So again, by the NFL definition of an explosive play, there was no explosive plays again in the passing game. Yeah. People talking about his reads. He's missing open. No. You're like a Dalek. I don't know if it'll come through. I apologise to everyone. No, he's gone. He's gone again. I'm going to edit the crap out of this. If we had a sponsor, this would be the perfect time for a commercial.
hopefully this is all right.
Can't hear.
Don't know.
Now
Can't hear.
I
All
can
right,
now.
cool.
Can now.
Yeah,
Where
no
was-
idea. I don't know what's going on. I really have no idea.
I reckon your internet in the area is playing up.
Yeah, it might be that, but also, like, I've checked the internet in here and it's absolutely fine. But also, they've started the major work on the outside of the house.
That's what I was thinking.
Internet's coming into the house, but I've checked it. I keep checking it over here, and it's like giving me 90 at the moment, so it seems fine. But yeah, it might be dropping a little bit because of maybe they've got something near a wire or whatever. But anyway,
You're
we?
getting your money's worth out of me today, right? What was you talking about before you was cut off by your internet
Rudely
provider?
interrupted myself.
Rudely interrupted.
I don't know. I can't remember.
You don't know.
No.
Okay, that's fine. So obviously the run game was good, right? They established the run game this week, and I think they've just got to embrace it, right? Because Rattler is, as we were saying, like the passing stats are down, and you've got Alvin Kamara, who's whether he's having a down season or an up season, he's one of the best in the game at doing what he does. He 70 yards this week. Kendre Miller 65 yards. Spencer Rattler got nearly 50 yards. I think you've got to embrace it, right, going forward unless you move away from Rattler to Shuck at some point. I think you embrace the run game because that could win you games. And you look at the Giants. The Giants last week gave up 152 yards in the run game. This week, you've got to lean into that, right? You've got to embrace the run game and say, right, we'll run it at them. One of the things I liked in the run game is the contrast in the way they used Alvin and Kendre, and they was using Kendre a bit more aggressively to punch that ball through. He's just got that dog in him, hasn't he? Just got a dog in him.
Yeah, but also it was like they were using inside and outside, which I like, because we were saying, weren't we, with Alvin, it was literally they were running him inside and they were using him as a battering ram. And yet again, in this game, Alvin, and over his career, he's proved he can do that. But actually, like you pointed out, it felt very D8 Pete Carmichael, where you were just using him as a battering ram, and there was
Yeah.
nothing on the outside. This game, they switched it up with both him and Miller, and so there was a lot of work on the inside and quite a lot on the outside, and a lot of productive stuff on the outside, which yet again is obviously the way they want to keep the defenses guessing. Obviously we were saying about, at the moment, all the dinking and, from Spencer Rattler. But as you say, embrace it, because that worked. It worked. It worked in a big game for us, because it was made even bigger because of what happened the previous week before.
Yeah. And
Reasons
I
to be
think,
positive, 1, 2, 3.
yeah, and I think I said when we was watching it here, the way they used them was almost Boom and Zoom-esque. Now, I'm not saying it was
Yeah.
as good as Boom and Zoom, right?
Come on, Dan.
Don't take my
stop that.
words out of context. But the contrast in the way they was using them, mixing it up, and Kendre's touchdown was a little bit Mark Ingram-esque, I thought, in some ways.
Yeah.
So, we had a scheme that worked, albeit, we don't want to hark back to the Sean Payton days, and we all want to move away from that. But you've got a compliment to Alvin. You know what kind of running back complements Alvin. Use Kendre like that, because he's a big lad. He can take the punches. He fights through the tackle.
He does. And on that Dan, it was great because also the blocking was good. Like the tight ends actually did the job. They did their job as well, and that always is beneficial. As you said, 18-yard run, and he seems to have pretty decent contact balance, but he's got that sort of bruiser. He feels like he's a bit of a bruiser as well. Doesn't look like he is, but I think he is. And I think that was proven. That's been proven actually this season in a couple of games where he hasn't got as many yards. This felt like the right way to use that double punch, didn't it? It really felt like they worked it out. And obviously, again, the O-line, the first team O-line was out. That probably helped. Obviously, we know Ruiz has got out of an injury, but then,
That's not a bad thing.
I was going to say 85% of the Saints fandoms like celebrating. They probably, at the moment, they're probably doing a second line somewhere. So, yeah. But, it looked like it worked, that aspect of it. And, I was, as I said earlier, I said about the Bills' run defense, but the bottom line is, that was encouraging, really encouraging.
Do you know what? It didn't surprise me, the success we had in the run game with Trevor Penning inside at guard. You'd say what you want about him as whether he was a tackle and whether he was a liability or just couldn't get the position. In the run game, bit of a monster, and I think you put him in at guard, he'll shift someone out of the way and make a gap for one of them to go through. And it wouldn't surprise me if I went back and looked at the All-22. It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of those runs where Kendre got through was Penning pushing someone out of the way and saying, on your way, son.
Yeah, I think he was a little bit rusty at the beginning of the game, but yet again, to be expected. He's not at any real game time.
Yeah, but he's a mauler, right? And I'll have that in on the inside. Again, next to your bet, I think we could probably safe to say, I know Fuaga's come back from injury, but I think Banks looks like he's our best defensive lineman from what we've seen across the piece. And if you've got them two, one of them a mauler at left guard, the other one who surgically holds players back. I know Bosa got through one instance, but the Bosa brothers, they're just nightmares anyway, aren't they? But I think your left side could really give you some opportunity in the run game, I think.
The best and worst of O-lines, people are going to get through. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if you're the best tackle in the league. You'll give up sacks, you'll give up pressures. So it's that's to be expected, but it was promising. Yeah. So from that point, something to look forward to.
Tortellini got in as well, didn't he? And got a good snap. So it's all right. I'd like to see Ravioli play.
I was waiting for the Italian joke. That was so dry.
It was bad when I've listened to people come out with worse ones since pre-season. I've held it back. I've called him Simpkins and stuff. But I'll drop a little one in there because bit of seasoning on the Italian food. Defense, Cam Jordan, 124th sack of his career, 50 different quarterbacks he's sacked. He's now in the top 20 sacks of all time. Hall of Fame, right? It's got to get him in the
Yeah,
Hall
I
of Fame.
think he was getting in the Hall of Fame, and I think the other thing about Cam is that I think throughout his career he's been on a self promotion for the Hall of Fame anyway. He will get into the Hall of Fame because the NFL as a corporate entity absolutely love him. They know that post retirement he's probably going to be a huge media star.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be up there doing Good Morning Football, and he's gonna be up there with McCourtney and all those guys.
Yeah,
So he's gonna be up there with McCourtney and all those guys, and he on the TV. I don't think he'll do like analysis stuff. I think he's gonna be pre-game, Good
yeah,
Morning Football, that kind of stuff. He's
yeah. Absolutely, yeah. But then, yeah, again, the guy knows his position. He knows football, so who knows? I think he's one of those. It's like you can put him anywhere and he'll probably thrive. And also, yeah, again, maybe that sort of analytical sort of thing. He's got a little bit too much enthusiasm and energy, maybe to be going into a booth and doing all that sort of good stuff.
So,
but yeah,
so what you're telling me is some people are good with analytics and some people just enjoy the emotion of the game, right?
yeah, that sounds very much like Saints fandom. That sounds very much like Saints friends, like having an argument. Yeah, again, it's like everybody will get emotional about their team. You hear it quoted all the time. Fan is short for fanatic. So if you're going to be fanatic, you're going to be emotional, and emotions come in every different shape and size. Sometimes people will have a take, and you see it every day. You see it every day on Twitter. You hear it every day on a podcast. I mean, even the guys who do the top podcasts, like Nick and Mike and all those guys, emotion sometimes gets in the way. And then when they have a couple of days to look at stuff, they might have a different perspective and a little bit of nuance. And I think nuance is the appropriate word here.
Yeah, but
When
you
you
shouldn't be. You
Mm.
should be allowed to change your opinion, right? And you should be allowed to go peaks and troughs. And you've seen it with Nick, right? This week, he's brought a lot of heat for Callum Moore, and then today he tweeted out coaching out of his skin, coaching ahead of a game. So it's peaks and troughs, right? You got to ride it
Yeah,
out.
absolutely. And especially when you're a fan, you get caught up in that, and quite rightly, you should be caught up in it, because if you don't get caught up in it, are you actually really a fan? Yeah, again, you've got to give people a little bit of leeway if they get a bit emotional. And yeah, again, I hear so many takes. I think we've got a fairly balanced view on it. I think the pair of
Yeah.
us don't always agree on stuff, which is exactly how it should be. But at the end of the day, especially this season, and we touched on it at the very end of the last podcast, this is a rebuild. People are asking for it. You've got what you want. Rebuilds do not happen in a prescribed way. They happen in different ways and different shapes, and they take different amounts of time. That's where we are at the moment. So all you can do, and what you should do, is be more passionate about the little pieces of good you see,
Yeah.
rather than blow up the building, because what
Or
I mean.
throw a beer at a player's wife's head.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I saw a clip of that, and the person whose beer it was, he didn't throw it. Somebody from the crowd hit his hand with his
Also,
beer.
like what happened to me at the Saints Viking game when I covered the whole row in front of me in a pint.
Yeah, but that nearly kicked off big style, didn't it?
That was Dyer's fault. He knocked it out of my hand.
Is that did that have something to do with a return? Because he was quite emotional at that game, weren't he? When a certain player was not returning.
Deontay Hart. Yeah, he was
Harty Howard.
down in tools. D-line did all right, Granderson got a sack. Brian Bazee got a sack. Pass rush looked good. Got after. Obviously Allen did break a few runs and stuff, which you expect him to do. It's like if you play Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, you expect that you're going to give up yards against them, because that's what they do. The one where he did go is the field just opened up for him, and he was like straight down the middle. That was, and
also,
there was a few of them who missed tackles on that.
Yeah, and that was the thing. But also, he broke the ankles. I don't know whose ankles he broke. He did break the ankles of one of our players. But yeah, again, there were a couple of missed tackles there. But as I said, it's like, yeah, again, across the board. As I said, I gave you the stats. We're not even in the top 5 in missed tackles. And there would certainly, if you had said to me, where are we placed, I would have said we would be in the bottom 3. You know what I mean? Or top 3, sorry, for missed tackles. But we're not. So that's happening across the league. And that's not only across the league this year. Everybody talks about, how the NFL is not as physical as it used to be. Obviously, the way that training camps are set up, you can't get into that physicality and sort of that. So, it's unfortunately that's the shape of things to come, I think. But you still, you still get hacked off especially because quite often for us, like with the first one, there were like the first touchdown for them were like 2 or 3 sort of broken tackles. The Josh Allen run, there were 2 or 3 broken tackles. And that's if somebody misses, you're like, oh, well, that can happen. When 2 or 3 are missing, you're like, what the hell? But situation is what it is. But then you say that, you look at Spencer Rattler's runs, half of his runs, he breaks 2 or 3 tackles. So yeah, again,
he gave a little shake and bake to someone on one of them. Dirty move.
dirty.
So someone said he was like Iverson, like watching Iverson play. I won't go that far.
No, not quite.
But I mean, that's good that he's doing that. My internet's playing up again.
Yeah, so's mine. To be honest, is you're saying trying to reconnect?
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah,
I think it's Riverside. Let's just keep plugging along. Special teams, better but not good.
Yeah, you can give props to both the offense and the defense. You can also claw back some of those props in certain areas. Special teams just need to sort it out.
Yeah, it's and to be like without going after coaches and stuff, like if anyone has got the potential to be relieved of their duties, it's going to be the one coordinator who wasn't picked by Kellen Moore. They kept him in the building because Darren Rizzi's special teams were so good. But yeah, I mean, Group E, I don't know. It's like he made the field goals, but I think it's more egregious not to get in the landing zone
again.
Yeah, I struggle with that, right? And I'll give him field goals. There are a number of different things that can happen in a field goal. It can be a bad snap, it can be a bad hold, it can be a block, it can be a lot of different things. If you can't hit the landing zone on a static ball that you've got no pressure on, you're the one who dictates when you run up and kick it. I have a problem with that because that should be your bread and butter, right? And but then at the same time, people are calling for Charlie Smith. Charlie Smith has never kicked a kickoff, a field goal, anything in a NFL regular season game. So
no, but you can see why people are calling for it. But
I get it. But yeah,
you're right. But at the moment, our option there would be somebody who's literally been playing the game for 2.5 years, really, and hasn't had any NFL experience. So yeah, again, I've heard plenty of people say Sean Payton would have had somebody in the building 2 weeks ago.
I'm surprised they haven't worked someone out just to put a bit of pressure down Groovy's back. Like Sean did it to Will Lutz. He brought players in, and he didn't matter. I thought the rough in the punter was. What do you want to do? He's already. Do you know what I mean? He's launched himself to block the ball. It's not like he's deliberately gone to take his standing leg out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. It's like, but I'm with you in the sense of what else can you do when you've launched yourself? You can't stop yourself midair. But the bottom line is they be the rules, and they've been the rules for forever and a day, and it's always going to get called. And to be fair, whether or not you blame the fellow who launched himself at the time, that looked, I don't know how bad his actual injury is, but it did look pretty bad.
He was back on holding. He's
fine. But then he had a knee. Didn't he have a knee brace? He had a knee brace on, I think, at that time. I'm just saying, when you saw
Ryan Ramczyk played with a knee brace for the last 5 years of his career. JJ Watt had an arm brace on his whole career.
And Mr. Ramczyk had to probably retire 6 years before he ought to. All I'm saying is, when you saw it live, it did look like, because it's almost like his knee hyperextended backwards, which didn't look good. But
but listen, if you're not cut out for the game, don't play it, right? If that was Thomas Morstead would have probably grabbed the geezer, thrown him out of the way, and still carried his punt on, because Thomas Morstead's built like a linebacker.
And yet again, here, this is us with our desperation plea on a pod for Thomas to come on the pod at some point. Join us, fellow Brits.
Come on,
Thomas.
Come on,
yeah,
Morstead. Come on.
Special teams, though, Dan. Special teams. I think we've got the punter, don't you think?
He looks all right, the punter. Yeah.
He does. I think he looks okay.
It's just he's a lefty, isn't it? That throws me. He's a lefty, isn't he? Is he a lefty? Or am I getting that wrong?
Who knows?
What did he have? He had 3 punts, 142 yards, 47 yards average. Hang on, let me zoom in here. 1 touchback, 2 into 2. There was that good punt when they downed it like on the 1 yard line. Josh Allen was
Yeah.
struggling to get out of his end zone. That was
I think they had didn't they have 3 separate flags thrown on them at the time? It was,
half
it was
the
halfway
distance of the
through, and it was
goal
like,
line, half the difference.
What halfway to go? So you're going to be measuring it in bloody centimeters in a minute.
Story
But the other,
of my life.
yeah. But but also it was like obviously we were talking about the block punt. Their punter didn't look very good. He gave us absolutely fantastic, and this is a little bit of the. He gave us fantastic field position on 2 of his punts, which were not very good at all. So, maybe the injury would be a blessing to the Bills because they can get rid of him because he doesn't look like he's particularly good anyway.
He's a geezer who looks like Bill Burr, isn't he? That's him, isn't it? I think.
He's an Australian as well, isn't he?
All these Australian punters, they love it, don't they?
Yeah.
League loves it.
Let's do the rugby kick, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose one downside on, I say downside, it's difficult. 160 yards for James Cook. But he's probably one of the best running backs in the league at the moment. So
I think at the moment he's probably the best running back in the league at the moment. I think they said on commentary, didn't he? That was his 3rd consecutive game with over 100 yards. So our run defense game. I'm saying about the Bills, that didn't look particularly great, but you probably are up against at the moment one of the, if not the premier running back in the league. So he's a good player, and I think you said it last night when we were watching it in the bar, mate, didn't you? It's like everybody was saying, he's not going to be as good as his brother. Well, he's doing all right at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah,
so
it looks good.
Yeah. So there are positives, there are negatives, but actually the positives absolutely outweigh the negatives in this game. And I don't want to go. Again, we can go through it on position. I don't want to go through the Rattler Shuck thing every time we come on and have a chat, because I think until it happens, what's the point?
The Saints got an opportunity to avoid 2 very obvious storylines over the next 2 weeks. So you stick with Rattler, then you avoid the rookie v rookie Jackson Dart, who got his first win for the Giants at the weekend, versus Tyler Shuck, the quarterback who's picked after him. So you avoid that narrative, because then you get the pressure there, because if Dart looks better than Shuck, then everyone goes, what did you do? You picked him 12 picks later and look, he's no good or whatever. But also,
if you were, sorry, Dan, if you avoid that, the other benefit to us as UK Saints fans is that there's a tiny possibility that game would be chosen as a game to put on Sky, because one of the networks in America will think, 2 rookie QBs. So we could do about that. So we'll be happy if that doesn't, even just for that reason.
But then the following week, if you start Shuck away at Chicago, we've got the Patriots the following week, haven't we?
Yeah.
So so you can, so say you give Rattler the Patriots game as well, and if they only win 1 or 2, then you say, right, we're going to start Shuck away at Chicago. You avoid the Caleb Williams, Spencer Rattler, Oklahoma face-off, because obviously Caleb Williams beat him out at Oklahoma, and Spencer Rattler lost his job to him. So you avoid that narrative. So it could be interesting the way it plays out. Just don't. I don't see a scenario. We'll talk about it when we get there, but I don't see a scenario where he doesn't get a start if they haven't won a game.
Basically, I think what you're doing here is advocating that they should start him against the Bucks in the Dome. That should be his first start at home, purely because we're there. So
I'm going to do a banner saying it's my birthday, because it is his birthday. I said birthday, not birthday. So I'm going to get him to do a banner to go down, because we're in the block, go down the front. It's my birthday. See if he can get a Tyler Shuck high five. Maybe get a photo for Di, for his guy.
Yeah. blowing a kiss to Di. Get a video recording of him blowing a kiss to his man Di.
Indeed. Mike, where do you want to go next?
I think we should have a chat about where's the seasoning.
Where's the seasoning?
Where?
Get your T-shirts. Where's the seasoning?
Yeah. Mine's on its way. Unfortunately, they're coming from America, so we know it takes about.
Are they coming from America? So I chose that website to set it up because they ship from the UK because it's the same
No,
website.
mine have, I think yesterday or Saturday or today, whatever, mine have just gone through customs in the UK. The
Okay.
hat came from the UK because I got that
I've
2 days
I've
after
ordered,
I
I've
ordered.
ordered the cap. I've ordered the cap version.
I didn't like. I'll be honest. I know it's the merch that we're putting for. I didn't like the white band. We're dealing with that.
I see. I like the white band because that's like the golf caps.
I don't like
It's
the
like
white
golf
band.
caps. All right. Well, you don't like the white band.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to put
Fussy.
a winter hat on with my summer outfit, even though it's pretty chilly over here at the moment. There you go. A little bit of advertising there.
Cold. So are you going to give me your seasoning or do you want my seasoning?
I want your seasoning.
Right, my seasoning. So I've been thinking about this. What dish is synonymous with New Orleans?
Probably gumbo, the main one.
Gumbo. Bang on. So if I had to say which player on the current Saints team is like gumbo, who is that quintessentially New Orleans Saint right now? Nailed it. It's like we prepped, although we didn't. So, right, AK is your gumbo, right? Everyone loves gumbo. It does the job. You can rely on it. You pull it out. It's always, well, I say always good. Normally always good if it's cooked properly. And that's what AK is, right? But sometimes you need something to change it up a little bit, right? And here's where I think for a couple of years, we've had a player that people are going, he's no good. Don't try him. He don't know the playbook. He ain't the guy. Get rid of him. Cut him. He's good. He's on the verge of being cut. Don't do it, right? That's like for the unindoctrinated, the Brits and stuff, when you say to them, put a bit of potato salad in your gumbo. A Brit will go, oh, I can't do that. That's disgusting.
I think I know where this is going. I think I know where this is going.
Potato salad in your gumbo. But then this year, you take someone out, you go, just try it. Just try the potato salad in the gumbo. And they have a go and they go, God, that's bloody lovely. That is Kendra Miller. Kendra Miller is my potato salad to Alvin's gumbo. Everyone said it wouldn't work. And yesterday was the first time they've tried it and they've gone, this is smashing. This is terrific. I want this every week. I want it every week. Give me the balance of the gumbo with the potato salad all together. Western Louisiana, boom.
Which I may also point out we had last night, potato salad in our gumbo.
It was. And you know, that's what the run game was, right? It was that perfect balance. Perfect balance, right? That's what it is. Now, I could argue, if you want to chuck Spencer Rattler in there for the run game, it's a bit like sticking tomatoes in your gumbo, right? A lot of people will say to you, I don't want it. And other people say, I do want it. And that's Spencer Rattler in the gumbo. He's in the run game. He's your tomatoes in the potato salad. A purist isn't going to like it, but maybe someone who's, running their own thought process goes, oh, you've got to have tomatoes in there. But that's where I'm going. A run game is gumbo, potato salad. And if you're a sadist, you're going to put a bit of tomatoes in there. Where's your seasoning? I quite like that seasoning. It wasn't seasoning, it's more of a recipe.
I haven't got a clue how I'm going to follow that. I'd say, right, so my seasoning would be probably another staple from the city, which is char-grilled or char-broiled oysters, whichever way you want to say it, which are my favourites, absolute favourites. So it's a little bit different because I say that the player I'm choosing could have the opportunity to be a staple in the New Orleans Saints defense. And so mine's going to be Mr. Jonas Sanka. I think everybody has been calling for him to play. Obviously, the unfortunate injury happened, so he's now getting the opportunity. But yesterday, yet again, sort of played up. He's a rookie. He had his first career interception. I think he had 3 pass breakups. He had a pass breakup, and then his next play was an interception, which was absolutely brilliant. I think, he had flashes in coverage. So, yeah, I think he would be mine. I haven't got something as long-winded and beautiful and succinct as yours with but, he has he could easily turn into my favourite. So, yeah, I'm going with him. At the moment, there's no seasoning on him. At the moment, it's Worcestershire sauce on him.
Yeah. So you have everything raw at the moment?
No, I'm having it with Worcestershire.
Worcestershire
I can't even say it, and I'm English.
Worcestershire
sauce. I want it with Worcester sauce.
Worcestershire sauce.
No, Worcestershire sauce. I can't even say it again.
when you go up to when you go and get your char-grilled oysters and you get them, sometimes you'll have a saltine cracker. Sometimes you'll have a bit of bread. Now,
Or
going
bit of bread,
forward,
bit of bread.
bread could be Riley, and your saltine could be Danny Stutzman, and all of a sudden, you've got a staple of a perfect meal sitting there waiting to be developed.
Nice.
Look at that. And then and then we need to sprinkle a bit of Tabasco on there somewhere. Oh no,
Oh,
I'm not a Tabasco man. Not
well.
Tabasco. I don't know why I said that. Oh my God. Blasphemy. Blasphemy. Oh. You got to put a bit of crystal on there. Beer crystal on there. Who would be your crystal? Who's your crystal? Brian Brazee? Brian Brazee's your crystal, right? Gives you that punch up front.
Yeah, because you've taken every other rookie player, so I've got no option but to go for
Listen,
slightly more established.
you and Ross years ago beat me up on his podcast with all of your musical analogies. I'm going to grab it back down your throat with food.
That's what she said. Anyway, swiftly moving on. I haven't said that this year, so let's swiftly move on.
But you've got a T-shirt if anyone wants it.
I've got a T-shirt on the way. I've got a T-shirt on the way with that on. Yeah, well, that's great, though. But it's good, though, because, yet again, you think about those are two not established players. Obviously, as you said, it's third year for Kendre, and this year you're starting to see what the coaching staff have known that he has, the ability that he has. You know, yet again, you were right. The amount of people who were saying need to get him out of the building, you know, and we, you know, we've spoken to people who have more insight, and there were certain reasons why maybe a couple of things didn't work out, both from a playbook perspective, but also maybe from a personal perspective as well. But obviously, with the new coaching staff coming in, obviously there's been, you know, we always say it over here, don't we? There's probably been an arm around the shoulder, and it's right, let's make this work for you. And it appears early days still, but it appears it's working. And yet again,
do you know what is? Go on.
No, I was going to say, and the other thing is, like, obviously, again, with Jonas Sanka, everybody said, you know, the ability that people saw in him, and actually it's great to see it on an NFL field, you know.
Yeah.
And that was great. And that I mean, those reasons to be happy, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. I was going to say, with the Kendre piece as well, obviously, Kellen Moore's talked about wanting to develop the quarterbacks, like no instant success, develop them, coach them, make them better players, make them better individuals. He might be applying that across the whole team, right? And he might be looking at Kendre going, I see a player there, and he ain't got a lot of tread on the tyre. He's got a lot of tread left on his tyres because he's been in and out the side for the last 2 years. I know he was a workhorse at TCU and they used him a lot, but he might be going, well, I can develop him. The only downside is he's like, next year's his final year of his contract. So you've got to know what you're getting to decide if you're going to sign into a new deal or let him walk out the door or whatever. But, you know, in that instance, you hope that Devin Neal steps in and he's the new Kendre. Or you sign Kendre to a contract and you let AK go, and then you've got Kendre and Devin Neal.
Maybe actually, again, it might be sort of a daytime sort of decision on, obviously, with the fact that you can't have the complete roster out and available to you, because again, with Devin Neal sitting, that felt a little bit like, well, again, obviously with the performance of both Kendre and AK, fair enough. And also, I think they wanted, because obviously Jones then came in and he was doing a lot of the returns and stuff. So again, he's your third running back in theory. You know, you're probably not going to carry 4 on a daytime squad, are you? So, again, but as you said, you know, obviously talented lad, Neil. So he'll get his opportunity, I'm sure. Unfortunately, it's a bruising game, and there'll be people who are out from time to time. He will get his opportunity, and let's hope he takes it.
Yep. So next week, Giants. We're going to be at the London game. We're going to be watching the Browns versus the Vikings. Repeat of the game at Twickenham. First time they've given us a repeat fixture since it started.
I, without doubt, will be leaving early to go and try and find somewhere to.
I'm going to be leaving early.
You'll be leaving.
I'll be taking. Yeah, so I'm taking my son Dylan. So we'll probably chip out early, get on the train. I might even try and get Nick to come and pick me up near the North Circular or something, so we can just get out and get back home. Giants game. going to be interesting. Jameis returning to the Dome. We touched on Jackson Dart, Paulson Debo coming back. Going to be an interesting game. Like they're one
Yeah.
and they're one and
Yeah, they had a boosted week, didn't they? Their rookie play, apparently, I haven't seen any of the highlights because obviously I was at yours, man. I haven't watched much of anything else. Apparently, he played okay. They performed all right. They've had a bit of a bounce with the win. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
yeah. I don't know how to call it. I think it's a winnable game. I think if they play like they've played yesterday and as the way they did against the Falconers and the Cardinals, I think there's a chance they can win. Obviously, their D line's pretty good, but as you said, or as we said earlier, the run game, they've conceded a lot of yards in the run game.
Yeah.
Then there's an opportunity there for us to try and build on what we've done with the O line and see if we can, punch it up the middle of the gut, and then maybe this could be a game where Spencer gets a chance to air it a little bit back in the Dome, give him a bit of confidence. But again, we'll see.
Very quick one on that. Slightly moving away from next week's game, but we haven't even mentioned. I think you mentioned it briefly. What were your thoughts on the trick play?
I didn't mind a play call. I quite like
Yeah.
a trick play.
Yeah,
There's different ways of looking at it, right? It was poorly executed, bad throw by Chris Olave.
yeah.
I think
Great play by Simpson. I think it was.
Yeah, the Bill player who saw it and worked it out was great from him.
Yeah, he sussed it out early, and he was going at 100 miles an hour. So fair play to him.
Yeah, he worked out what it was.
Yeah, I suppose it felt a bit silly because actually, as you were saying, we got to that point because actually that was a really, really decent drive. And
Yeah, we're moving the ball well.
Yeah, we've mixed it up a little bit. I think that's where.
That tells me lack of confidence in Rattler in the end zone, though.
In the red zone.
Maybe there's a lack of. It's. I suppose the two main criticisms of Spencer Rattler have come out week after week have been he doesn't lead his receivers.
Yeah.
And also he's not particularly productive once he's in the red zone.
Yeah.
And you look at the passes, the Brandon Cooks pass this week, the Olave pass. I mean, the Juwan one was, that was a good tackle by the Cardinals player. But there's been a few times in the red zone where he's just not looked as he should. He hasn't been as
efficient,
decisive, vicious. Yeah, he hasn't executed well in the red zone, and that's obviously they probably thought. I suppose last season 2 of his touchdowns were trick plays, and I wonder whether Moore looked at it and said, "Well, it's a good confidence booster, a trick play," but it didn't come off right.
No, it didn't. And also, we've been running the ball so well that you sort of thought, well, I didn't have a major issue with it myself. If it was executed a bit better, it probably would have worked out.
I would say it's a play you call when Cedric Wilson Jr. has been elevated from the practice squad. And I'm not. I'd say that.
I know.
In all sincerity, he's got a good record on those trick plays. I think his passing record is like 100% when he's had to pass the ball because he was a quarterback. So that's the kind of play you do. It's Olave. I can think of a lot of AK. I'd probably trust throwing the ball more than Olave. To me, that throw almost summed up Olave a little bit. He's a little bit like
reticent.
You know what I mean? A little bit.
Yeah, a game with Olave, and I think I've said it virtually every week. Obviously, the drops were not great, but yet again, the thing, he's not getting the opportunity to show us what sort of route runner he is, and being able for yards after the catch and all that sort of thing. But the one thing I would give him is that even when he has a little upset in a game, whether whatever it is, he in every single game he's come fighting back. And he's actually been gritty and dirty and got some hard yards. So it's not doing him any. It's not in a horrible way. We've talked about it before. Obviously whether somebody's going to come in and before
he got a touchdown
yesterday.
He's got a touchdown
absolutely,
yesterday.
And we were talking about obviously Spencer, in the red zone. That was actually a really great call. That was a really that played out really well. That was a great call, But yeah, it's at the moment. I forgot my point.
I just don't feel as connected to Chris as I do to some of the other players on the team. I just feel if someone offers us a first round pick for him, I'll bite your hand off for next year. Someone gives me a 26 first round pick, I'll take it.
Yeah, actually,
he's going to want bunts, right? He's going to want bunts.
But that was actually the point I was making before I quite rudely interrupted myself and couldn't remember. It was the point that at the moment, as much as I'm saying the grit and he's getting some hard yards and there's a comeback in him in every game, even if there's been a situation which hasn't gone his way, that you're not selling yourself. People are, nobody's going to trade for that Olave. What they want to trade for is the Olave in the 2 first seasons who had over 1,000 yards. And also the way we're playing at the moment, there is no big explosives down the field, which, I can't remember. Was it the Bucks game? That one which came over his head and literally it was one hand and literally came down.
Yeah, those are the plays that I haven't seen from him in like 2 years.
You've not seen any of that from him this year, and it is not necessarily his fault because on certain calls on the field, those opportunities have sort of been there, but there's a reluctance, it would appear, on the quarterback to actually find that player, again, I said we wouldn't get into the Shuck Rattler thing, and actually I don't really want to, but you can see why people are a little bit, I think everybody, if people do not agree that Rattler has been an improving player, then I don't really know what game they're watching, but improving doesn't mean the answer.
Yeah, he's, as I said to you last week, he's improving. He's doing all right with what he's got, but I still think he's a perennial backup in the league, like a top level backup. He'll come in. He's Gardner Minshew. I think, is my view.
Maybe.
And you win with him, but not because of him.
Yeah, but also I think, and again, this is probably the same with every player who you think of in that standard. He'd actually probably be an okay starting QB if he had a slightly stronger team around him.
Yeah, maybe.
I think so. So again. Anyway, let's drop that subject.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we'll wait till he gets dropped. We'll reset. We'll bring it back up when he gets dropped in a week. But yeah, what else? Because I don't know how long we've been running, because how many times the internet's dropped. It says 1 hour, 11 minutes.
But I would say the one thing I'd like to say, and it's not to do with the say, it's probably to do with us naturally, is that we are going to go back to where we're going to record some longer format ones with guests, because it was what we sort of
in
came
addition
up with.
to these.
Yeah. It's what we were sort of, the first thing that we sort of became known for was obviously speaking to international fans from around the world. And we'd like to get back to that because that's always really lovely to hear other people's stories. So we'll definitely get back to them, but we've also got some other people in the pipeline, and also some people that we'd actually like to get on the pod.
Aspirations,
my friend. Aspirations. Yeah. So who is your aspirational choice be?
I'd really like to get on the pod. I'd like to get Stan Verrett on, because he's not on ESPN anymore. He's doing his own thing.
Yeah.
He's doing stuff for the Saints, and we do know a couple of people at the Saints who might be able to help us out. I don't know. We'll try.
Yeah, we'll try.
We got mixed experience in that space. No, genuinely, Stan Verrett, I'd love to talk to him because he's from New Orleans, St. Augs. Went off into the world and did fantastic things. Everyone loves him. He's there around the games. He goes to the tailgates. He goes to Allen's tailgate and stuff. I'd love to talk to Stan Verrett. I think he'd be a great guest.
No, that'd be a great choice. I'll move slightly away from. I'll incorporate New Orleans, but not from a native. It would be quite, and I know this is a love him or hate him thing to say, but I would, and not for me, but I know like UK
Paul
fans.
Brown.
Not a hope. I'd rather stab myself in the you know what. No, Neil Reynolds. And one of the main reasons I'd like to get Neil on is obviously to talk about his vast experience in the game, but actually to teach him how to say the correct pronunciation of the city that we love. Because what he goes, go on, Dan, give us your impression of Neil when he says it.
Hang on, let me try. And now we go to the Super Bowl to see how the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans
Neil,
Saints.
We want to get you on just so we can correct that.
Look, Neil, if I clip this, right, you know how like they say, what's that thing from Peter Pan? Or what's the thing every time you say I don't believe in fairies, a fairy dies or whatever, right? That's
or
the Peter
loses
Pan
its
thing.
wings or something, isn't it?
No, you're thinking of a Wonderful Life. It's quite a depressing Christmas film. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
But
Yes,
also,
if
you've
I
just,
don't
you've just
believe you.
talked, wait, you're saying it's depressing, but you've just talked about an angel dying. But yeah, somebody losing their wings is depressing. All right, anyway, swiftly moving on. Go on.
No, an angel get anyway, right?
I get it. I know it's a wonderful life. Let's
Right, you
not
get
have
it.
a
You
debate
get it,
about-
right?
Get
Listen,
back
you're
to your
ruining.
point.
Okay, so Neil, what you have to understand is that I posted this on Instagram. Every time someone says New Orleans, they get another pothole. You're killing the city, mate. Every Sunday, you can't even drive down Canal Street, and that's a fairly well-maintained street because of the potholes you're putting out. Don't even want to go up into like mid-city or over to other parts of the town because you're just killing it. New Orleans. New
Yeah.
Orleans.
So
Jay
anyway,
Lawrence.
Neil-
Jay Lawrence
Neil-
will teach you. New Orleans.
Exactly. Jay will teach you, but also, Neil, so if you're listening to it, you need to help the city of New Orleans save them from their potholes.
Look, if you ran for mayor of New Orleans and said, I'll just fix the potholes, you'd win. 100% you'd win. All this stuff going on at the minute, they're all going after each other. I'd stand and go, I'll fix every pothole. I don't care about anything else. Every pothole's going to be fixed.
As
I'll
long
have
as
the
I can get a
tarmac
green card.
machines running.
As long
Give
as
me
I can get a green card.
I'll fix the potholes. I know some geezers. But also, Neil Reynolds is in New Orleans when we're there, Mike.
Oh, is he? Is he
He's
on
doing one of those tour things.
the touchdown trips, is it?
Yeah, not touchdowns, another one. But Neil, come down to Wrong Island. Where on the Friday the 24th, we're hanging about with Dome Patrol podcast. James is going to hate us for saying this. Neil, come down. See what's popping. Wrong Island, get some cocktails, some daiquiris, hang out with some Brits and some American Saints fans. What could go wrong?
Quite a lot.
Probably. Listen. My past experiences of drinking around that vicinity, Bayou Beer Garden, and then having to go to a game the next day,
They're
I'm
not
not
good.
great. My track record
No.
is not great.
Yeah, but then also, I think you're excluding, you're blaming that area of the city, but you're also excluding that after that you went and had about 14 hand grenades. So let's make it right. Let's make it right.
Oh, listen, I made it back to my hotel room that night, and I was compass mentis enough to go and buy myself a couple of bottles of water and buy some presents for my children before I go back to the room. So I have no idea how that happened, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Anyway, I think we should leave that there. I think we
We'll
should
wrap
probably
it up.
sign off because we're not exactly sure how long we've been on because of the amount of freezing that we've had on this
It did.
pod.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be back next week after the Giants game. We'll give you a recap of that game. We'll talk about the upcoming Patriots game. Shout out our boy Charlie Dunn, who's flying over to the States for the Patriots game, and the new guy in the UK Saints WhatsApp group, Declan, who's also going out for that game. So we're not there yet, but they're going to have a great time. Yeah, and then we'll talk about the London game a little bit, probably about crap Vikings and Browns are. Joe Flacco.
But also, just going back to that one very quickly, if there are any Saints fans in the UK who listen to us who are not part of the UK Saints WhatsApp group, get in touch with us and we'll give you a link to get in because, yeah, again, you just touched on it there about, like, obviously Charlie going over, but Declan going over. Declan joined, about a week and a half ago, and the amount of advice and tips that people have given him for going over, I think he's absolutely hugely grateful for. So it's a WhatsApp group full of experience and history of the city. Yeah. So if you aren't part of it and you're a Saints fan, just get in touch with us. We've
And if you're a little bit
in there, haven't we?
our boy Shane, and if you're a little bit more tech savvy, you can join our Discord where we do the same thing, but it's a bit harder to get in, and you have to deal with us being sarcastic and clicky. But we're all good fun.
We're not clicky.
We're not clicky. We are not clicky at all. We're everyone's welcome. So yeah, remember, like, follow, subscribe, Saint City Me on all your socials. We've been Mike and Dan. This has been This Is Your Life.
Yeah. And if anybody wants the Mike Casey summer look for a winter in London, get in touch with me, man. I'll give you some stylistic tips.
Who that,
freezing.
baby?
I'm freezing.
Who
Who
dat?
that, baby?
First win's coming. Let's go.